Hello, I'm Warren, and this is The Countdown. And this week, we're going to be discussing children's TV shows. If I ask you to think back to your childhood, it doesn't matter when you grew up, 80s, 90s, there will always be a TV show that sticks out in your mind as being the one, the thing that you remember, the time that you wish you could go back to and watch again with fresh eyes. Right? Like 80s kids will remember Gummy Bears or Transformers, 90s kids maybe it's the Animaniacs or The Adventures of Pete and Pete. There are always those classic, brilliant shows, and TV's just gotten worse since then, right? Right? No, it hasn't. Not at all. There are a bunch of good children's TV characters and shows now that will stand the test of time in just the same way that those ones that I asked you to remember did for you. They're currently now on streaming services, and we're going to look at one streaming service this week in particular, Netflix. Let's take a look at 5 original Netflix series that I think your kids are going to enjoy well into their adulthood, and that secretly, if you watched with them, you'd enjoy too.
Number 5. The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. George and Harold are 2 kids who one day accidentally, kind of on purpose, learned how to turn their foolish headmaster into a superhero called Captain Underpants. Packed with loads of silly toilet humor and quite a few searingly clever jokes as well, Captain Underpants is a delight for those who remember classic TV shows like Doug and Recess with a bit more madness and outrageous episodic bad guys. Is it childish and simple? Yes. Is it delightfully so? Absolutely. Number 4. The Last Kids on Earth. The Last Kids on Earth takes the idea of being a bunch of kids stuck after an apocalypse in a monster-filled playground and turns it into a heartwarming tale of friendship and camaraderie, with zombies. The real issues such as missing parents are always lurking in the background, but the over-the-top action, likable characters, and anything-can-happen craziness overrides everything for an adventure that's more fantastical than it is emotional. Number 3. Shaun the Sheep, Adventures from Mossy Bottom. Shaun the Sheep has been a children's classic for a while now, telling the story of a flock of sheep and the farmer and his dog who ruin their day. It's amazing the adventures sheep can get up to behind our backs, and this alone will keep the little ones entertained. Adults, though, will love the sly references and jokes meant clearly for an older audience. This is definitely a show that the whole family can binge. Number 2. Dragons Race to the Edge. Taking place between the movies How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon 2, Dragons follows Hiccup and his team as they try to keep a balance in the new world of dragons and Vikings. The story twists and turns and the characters are as endearing as ever. It's very paced with loads of new dragons, in-jokes and adventures, and that alone will keep the adults entertained even as they pretend they're only watching for the kids. Like the previous shows on this list, the animation is top-notch, as is the voice acting and characterization. The bad guys are clever and original, but the show's best character is probably simply the world itself. No one needs to feel ashamed to call themselves a fan. Number 1. Tales of Arcadia. Summoned from the mind of Guillermo del Toro, whose Academy Award-winning fantasy films Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water have given him miles of credibility, the Tales of Arcadia trilogy is an absolutely epic animated TV show. Beginning with Troll Hunters, the show is set in a small American town called Arcadia, where everything does and can happen. Troll Hunters centers on the world of trolls beneath Arcadia's feet, 3 below on the aliens in their midst, and wizards with the events of the past that could destroy the Arcadia now. It's magical and alien, whimsical, joyful, and so full of action Rambo could weep. The characters are perfectly crafted and realized through the voice talents of some of Hollywood's biggest stars, from Kelsey Grammer to Anton Yelchin, Angelica Houston, Lena Headey, and so on and so on and so on. The plots are original, clever, gripping, and hard to predict, and the animation is sublime. This is a show that blows most others out of the water, and even if you don't have children, it comes highly recommended.
So that's 5 shows, and I've only focused on the Netflix originals. There are loads more that you should be watching with your kids as well. Is there anything I've missed? Is there something I should be watching with my son? Please let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, like, share, or subscribe to the channel. Anything you do is greatly appreciated. We'll see you next week.